In the last video, we built a basic plan, what we're going to build it, and what are the things we need to build a basic prototype. In this video, we're going to build that prototype, and we try to migrate at least a basic fields from the Airtable to the Postgres. And we will include all the basic fields, all the records, and all the tables in the base. So let's get started. So before we can go and write a code, we need to come up with a proper architecture plan, and what we're going to build it. We will need to decide those things before we code it. So we are at a whiteboard, and here we're going to plan out what we're going to build. So let's see the high level thing before we go into more technicals. So what we're going to build is, we're not going to build a front end or APIs or anything. We will just build a simple command line application where we will provide Airtable tokens and Airtable base ID, and on other side we will provide Postgres connection string, and this will be passed as just variables. And then once we run the command and migrate them, it start the migration. It will migrate all the basic fields with their records and all the tables. So these are the things we're going to build. To build those things, we need certain building blocks. So what we need is, we will need Airtable service that will help us to communicate with the Airtable. And we saw that the Airtable has official package, so we will use that package. We will wrap that package with some service so that we can do more stuff. So we need Airtable service. So let's write us down here, Airtable service. Then we need all the list of fields that we're going to migrate. Here we will consider all the basic fields, and for now we will skip the complex fields like a roll-up, link record, attachments, and all the complex things. We will going to handle it later. We also need a list of SQL fields that will be helpful, because these table fields will be converted into their corresponding SQL fields. So what else we need? We also need a way to like read the schema. So I guess these are the things that Airtable service can handle for us. And the idea is, we will pass the base ID and the token to this service, and then we can first start with scanning the table, then take out the table list. Then from the table, for each table we will need to extract their fields, and also we need to somehow get the records from the tables and the values for those particular fields. All right. Also, since we will have all the list of fields, basic fields with us, so we will iterate through the fields that we support in the migration, and all the remaining fields that we're going to support in the future. We can skip them for now, so that we only focus on the fields that we currently going to migrate. We also need another service like Postgres service that will handle the Postgres side of work. For example, once we pass the list of our tables, then it can go and create the tables. I want a service, the Postgres service, that once we give all this, the structure, the seeding script, then it will use its method to create those tables with the columns with the values, right? So I think we're going to need uh, another service. We need a bridge which takes the data from the Airtable and all the information that needs to convert to the Postgres. So we need a engine that handles this conversion. So we can call it migration engine, or like, I don't know, we can call it a migration engine, right? So the job of this migration engine is to, once we have all the information from the Airtable, then its job is to convert those Airtable schemas, tables, fields, and records to the Postgres equivalent, and then later in the next step, the engine will pass all those conversion thing to the Postgres service, and the Postgres service will go and implement and create the tables, columns, and values. In the conversion, in the last video we discussed that we need a mapping between Airtable fields and the Postgres fields. So the mapping will be useful here. Why? Let's say we have a text field, basic text field from the Airtable. So what is the equivalent field in the Postgres? So to find those things, we know what could be the equivalent thing. So we need a mapping of Airtable fields with a Postgres fields, and then for example the text field will be the text field from the Postgres, and for the number there will be a number, and so on. Sorry, we need a mapping between the Airtable fields and the Postgres field. The mapping is possible after we know the list of Airtable fields and list of Postgres field that we may need. So is there anything else we are missing? I think we are good to go. So I use a cursor for coding it, and here we're going to use AI, and then the model will be the Sonnet 4.6, the latest model, and it will be a plan. So before we write any prompt, I just want to share you some tricks that I use to write a prompt. As a developer, I like whenever I want something from the AI, I don't want surprises. What I want, whatever I prompt I type, I know what I'm going to get in the response. So if, for example, the plan that we saw in the whiteboard, we know we need services, what services, we need a mapping, the list of editable fields, everything, right? So we are better aware of what it could generate, and we know how it will generate, and we can make a better judgment if the response it's generated is correct or not. Because sometimes what happens, the people who are not from the software development background or don't have experience in a coding, what they do, they like whenever they write a prompt and they get a response, they feel like this is a correct response. Why? Because they lack the experience to judge the code and view the code and see if it's perfectly aligning with what we wanted. So I will write a detailed prompt what we need to build this prototype. So let's start with the coding. So we are done with the prompt, and we are explaining all the things in very detailed way, so that it understand all the requirements very clearly, what we need to build. And with this prompt we are know that what are the things we are asking for, so we can properly review them, and we can judge it if it's returning with the correct answers or not. And one more trick that I want to share you, that I usually use it, the trick is I always finish a prompt with a question, that if he understands the requirements clearly or not. If not, he can ask more question to clarify the things. So here I always do it. So what it does, like if there are some points that we may miss, he can give us more, he can come up with the questions that maybe we missed to mention. The plan is ready, and now we will going to review the plan. It's 0.1 version. What it come up with is it's like it's a CLI tool with AT Migrator as a command, and then it has a flags where we can pass the token and base ID and PGURL. I think we don't need this way. Maybe we can have some environment variables where we can pass these values. Let's see, let's go down and see the project structure. So in the project structure it has a source folder, and then this is the entry point for CLI, and there are services like Airtable service it's going to build, and then Postgres service that creates table and insert the data. Then the migration folder will have the engine where it will orchestrate the migration, and then the types, I think they are the interface type for the schemas and fields. Great. And then we have a logs, then we have some helper methods like name sanitizers. So let's go just below, it's explaining building block how Airtable service will work. So the Airtable service will have two responsibility. The first is the schema, it will list the tables, get the fields. This will call the meta API directly via fetch get endpoint, since the npm package does not expose the schema, which is, I think it's look into the documentation, so it's good. Then the records get record method uses the Airtable npm package, which returns fields by the ID. Yeah. And then we have this Postgres service uses the PG pool for all operation. No seed script, no SQL files for the v1. This is right fit because we need to stream the batches, handle the errors, purge table, and give the live progress feedbacks. So I think if we go with the script way, the script needs to be executed like once. We cannot like control the parts of the script, and let's say if a script fails, then the entire thing is fail. But if we go with other way to like handle it incrementally, if something fails at certain tables creation, then we can know what happened and what went wrong at what steps. So I think that's a good plan here. And then it creates, then we have a create table, insert records, looks good. Each table migration run in a transaction. If a table insertion fails, it rollbacks that without table affecting the already migrated tables. So this is really a good point. And then we have a field mapper. So it has So we have a field mapping here. So single line text, multi-line text, rich text, email, URL, phone number will points to the text field. Then the number will be points to the numeric or big int, and the currency and percent will be numeric again. The checkbox will be boolean, the single select will be text again, the multi select will be the text like array, and the date will be the date. Looks good, looks good. Yeah, unsupported. So multiple record links, multiple attachments, formula, lookup, rollup. These are the complex field that we will handle them later. So for now we will skip them. And how it will skip, it will skip as, I don't know. And the complete flow will be, it will get all the tables from the Airtable. Then for each table there a field mapper will, we will pass all the fields to the field mappers, and then we will get the mapping for the Postgres field. And then once the mapping is ready, we can go ahead and create a table in a Postgres. Then for each records, no, then we will go and get the records for each tables from the Airtable, and then we will transform their values and then insert those records into the Postgres. And I think that we need to do this for each table. So that looks good. Every table get two system columns added automatically. So the Airtable ID and the Airtable created time. So yeah, this is makes sense. Okay, then the table names are sanitized. This is good. Extension design decisions. Okay, so we have this data flow diagram as well, but we got the idea how it will work. And then extensibility design decision. Okay, so we also need to make this application in a way that in the future, if you're going to handle the complex fields, it's not a complete refactor, it should be easily extendable. I think we are good. The only thing we need to change it, I don't like this way, because even though this application will be run on the CLI, but I don't want that, because once we work on this basic prototype, we will use this basic prototype as a base, and eventually we will build a real backends out of it. So we don't need a CLI way. So we need to go and tell the, we need to change the plan, not the completely, just a CLI. All right. So what we're going to do is, we don't need to build this as a CLI app, because later on, as I said, we're going to build this as a Node app, and this will be behind some APIs or something. So if we lay the foundation correctly, we don't need to do a much refactor later on. We just need to add APIs and all the supporting infrastructure to handle the migration. So the plan looks good, so it's now building it. So let's go. So the code is generated, and now we're going to look into the code and see if it's um, what we expected. So the code wise it looks good, so we need to go ahead and test this if this is working or not. So let's start. So what I will do is I will set up a basic Airtable base with some data, and also I will create some Postgres database. So I have here inventory management, um, which has three tables and has couple of, and it has some records, so it's good for the testing purpose. And then I'm going to use a Neon for creating a Postgres database. So I can get the connection string for the Postgres, and we need to paste that, into the env. So, so let's go and create a new env, and this will go here. And the Airtable tokens, we need to create a new token. So let's go to the Airtable, and then we need also the base ID. Let's first grab the base ID. This is the base ID, and paste here. Now we need a token. So for the token we go to the builder hub, and then from here we can create a new token. So let's create AT prototype test, and we need to give read and read the schemas. I think these are the enough, and we also need to give the base. So create the token. I will copy that and paste the token here. I think that's all we need. Now we need to run this project. So let's go ahead and type the npm start, and I hope this will start the migration. Connected to the Postgres, fetching the schemas and fetching the tables. So all it started showing the logs. Now inserting the records. Wow. So migration is completed, and there was zero fails, no errors. All the records were inserted, and it took around 14 seconds. So let's go into the Postgres, and let's confirm it's all the things are migrated. So here we go, and if I go to the tables, I should see 1, 2, 3 tables: order item, product item, products. Perfect. And now let's see if we have migrated all the data. So products has 5 rows, product has 5 records, product order has 5 records, and then order line item has 6 records. It means total 16 records. So let's go here. How many we have? Line item has 6, product should be 5, perfect, and the product should be 5. Awesome. And we have migrated, like, this is the Airtable ID, that was a default column. This was a timestamp when the record was created in Airtable. And then we have product name, SKUs, descriptions, stock. So you see, this was a new number and we converted into a big int, which is, so the mapping was correctly handled. And then product photos order, these are like attachments, and I guess these are the link records, so we skip those fields for now, but we will handle them in the next phase. So far it looks good, perfect. So we finally managed to migrate all the basic fields to the Postgres, and we tested on a real Airtable base and also migrated to the real Postgres database. So I think that's all for this video, and we will continue building this migration tool. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you soon.